Most people think science is something smart individuals discover. Project Hail Mary quietly argues the opposite. Science works because none of us is very smart alone. That idea is the structure that holds the whole story together. Science is not a property of brains. It's a coordination technology we built to synchronize our predictions about nature. Very few novels even notice this distinction. Project Hail Mary, a 2021 novel by Andy Weir, and a 2026 film starring Ryan Gosling, puts it at the center of the story. The question here isn't whether Weir gets the science right, but what the story assumes science is. I'm going to give you a philosopher of science take from the streets of ancient Rome on why Hail Mary works, when so much science fiction doesn't. Most science fiction forgets about epistemology, the theory of knowledge. How do we know? What counts as evidence? What methods justify belief? Epistemology sounds abstract, but it's basic enough that it could be taught to sixth graders, and once was. Project Hail Mary never uses the word, and its characters never discuss it explicitly. Instead, epistemology is the plot, which is oddly refreshing. Every observation and every conclusion in the book flows from astronaut Ryland Grace's constrained first-person perspective. Weir keeps epistemology inside the story rather than lecturing about it. Walter Miller gestured at something similar in his 1959 Mechanical for Leibowitz, where the complementary mental habits of Michael Faraday and James Clerk Maxwell are mirrored without ever being named. Insiders catch it, outsiders don't need to. Weir pushes that technique much further. Epistemology becomes the engine that moves the story forward. I hope the movie retains this aspect of the book. Weir's early praise of the movie is a good sign. From a literary standpoint, science fiction has mostly lagged behind other genres in abandoning omniscient reporting of mental states. Weir avoids this almost to a fault. Grace knows only what he can operationalize. Awakening from a coma, even his own memories arrive like experimental results rather than introspection. This feels less like literary minimalism than engineering discipline. Knowledge is revealed through constrained interaction with apparatus, not through authorial mind reading. Bradbury told us what characters thought because he was taught that was realism. Weir understands that realism in science is procedural. Reactions to Hail Mary are mixed but mostly positive. Many readers praise its ingenuity while criticizing its thin prose, quippy dialogue, and engineered optimism. Weir has admitted that scientific accuracy takes priority over literary polish. Grace can feel like a bundle of dad jokes attached to a physics degree. But that tone does more work than it seems. We are, after all, inside the head of a physics nerd solving problems under extreme constraint. The novel openly teaches science, pendulums, gravitation, momentum, Galileo's science, what he worked on when he was living in this building, right here. Less openly, it teaches philosophy of science. That second lesson is never announced. It's embedded. Grace encounters an extraterrestrial engineer named Rocky. Rocky evolved in an ammonia atmosphere far denser and hotter than Earth's. His blood is mercury. He has no eyes, 5 legs, speaks in chords, is the size of a dog but weighs 400 pounds, and can only interact with Grace across physical barriers. The differences pile up gradually. Rocky is astonishingly capable. His memory is perfect. His computation is nearly instantaneous. And yet his civilization never discovered radiation. It's a blind spot with lethal consequences. They developed interstellar travel without any theory of relativity. Rocky is not inferior to humans. He is orthogonal. Giordano Bruno. In 1584, he thought the stars were suns, with planets and other people on them.
The sun is not the only star dying.
Weir refuses to treat language, vision, or the ability to abstract as universal yardsticks. Rocky's cognition is constrained by temperature, pressure, material science, and survival heuristics that are alien in the literal sense. Interstellar travel, without knowledge of relativity sounds implausible until you think like a historian of science. Discovery is path-dependent. Humans built steam engines before thermodynamics, radios before quantum mechanics, and turbochargers without a general solution to the Navier-Stokes equations. In fact, general relativity was understood faster, with fewer people and fewer unknowns, than modern turbomachinery. Intelligence does not guarantee theoretical completeness. We often talk as if engineering is applied science, as though scientists discover laws and engineers merely execute them. Historically, it's mostly the reverse. Engineering drove hydrostatics, thermodynamics, and much of electromagnetism. Science condensed out of practice. Rocky shows us a civilization that pushed engineering heuristics to extraordinary limits without building the meta-theory we associate with modern physics. Weir shows us that ignorance has consequences. Rocky's civilization has blind spots, not just gaps. They solve problems locally, not universally. That matches real scientific history, which is full of how did they not notice that moments. Epistemic humility matters. The deeper point is easy to miss. Rocky's raw intelligence is overwhelming, yet Weir shows how insufficient that is. Computational power is not the same thing as epistemic traction. Humans compensate for limited individual cognition by externalizing thought. Books, instruments, equations, replication, argument, peer irritation. Science is not what smart people know. It's what happens when disagreement is preserved instead of suppressed. Consider the neutron lifetime puzzle. Isolated neutrons decay in about 15 minutes. Bottle experiments and beam experiments both work. Both are careful, and their measurements disagree by nearly 10 seconds. That discrepancy feeds directly into Big Bang nucleosynthesis and cosmology. No one is happy about it. That discomfort is the system working. Science as a council of experts would smooth it over. Science as a messy coordination technology will not. Rocky science advances by heroic individual problem solving. Human science advances by distributed skepticism. His civilization seems optimized for survival and local success, not for epistemic reach. Humans stumble into deep structure because we are bad enough at thinking alone that we are forced to think together. Relativity illustrates this point. Einstein is often treated as a counterexample, the lone genius who leapt beyond intuition. But strip away the myth and the leap shrinks. Maxwell's equations had already broken classical time and space. Michelson-Morley refused to go away. Lorentz supplied transformations that worked but felt evasive. Einstein inherited the problem fully formed. His leap was short because the runway was long. What made it remarkable was not distance but direction. He was willing to look where others would not. No one is epistemically self-sufficient. Not Einstein, not Rocky, not us. There's another evolutionary angle Weir hints at. Vision didn't just give humans data, it gave easily shared data. You can point, you can draw on a cave wall, you can argue over the same thing in space. In Rocky's sightless world, translating private perception into communal objects is harder. That alone could delay theoretical physics by centuries. The book's real claim is stronger than different minds think differently. Scientific knowledge depends on social failure modes as much as on cognitive gifts. Progress requires tolerance for being wrong in public and for wasting effort on anomalies. Weir doesn't sermonize, he doesn't need to. Rocky saves the mission by being smarter. Humanity saves itself by having invented a way for dull individuals to coordinate across centuries. It's a quietly anti-heroic view of intelligence.
Why?
We don't know.
Project Hail Mary treats science as failure analysis rather than genius theater. Something breaks. What do we test next? That may be why it succeeds where so much science fiction fails.